Well, I'm going to call order here in a second. What are you going to do? Do you have another meeting together?
I do, but there's no rush. I mean,
Okay,
the
good.
first would be great.
That's what we normally do so that you can go.
Sounds good.
But I got a politician in the room, so I got to be careful.
Probably not.
Huh? He's supposed to be here, yes.
I'm not here because I'm not supposed to be here.
I know, but Martin's not here, so we may give you 5 minutes.
2 minutes?
Two. You can give me a 2-minute
I just
version?
need 2 minutes.
All right. I don't believe you, but that's fine. All right. Call to order. This is the April meeting of the Ward's Corner Civic League. My name is Chris DePalma. In attendance also, my officers here, First Vice President Aaron Ward, our Treasurer Grace Sellers, and our Secretary Brenda Grigg. As we start these meetings, typically we start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Everybody stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. Everybody have a seat. I know I'm rushing things a little bit because we have a couple people that have to leave early here. First thing on the agenda, as we usually do, is our crime report tonight given by Officer Dylan Tomko. Officer Tomko, thank you for joining us tonight.
For those of you who don't know me, my name is Officer Tomko. I'll be your new community resource officer.
Oh, you are a new All-Cat. That's what
for the next 3 to 4 months. They move Toth around, so
okay.
it's the way it works.
The way it works. It's
I've been an officer for 6.5 years, and I've been a CRO for 3 years. I run Beach Patrol as of this year, but I've worked Beach Patrol for the last 3 years as well. So
okay.
My first time doing this. So I'm going to give you guys my phone number real quick if you guys want to write it down. I don't have any business cards today, but it's 757-390-0406.
Gotcha.
You guys can call me, text me anytime. I want to answer. I'll get back to you.
What shift do you normally work during the day?
Well, I just got off patrol, so I was working 12, so I kind of try to stay on that same schedule, night and days.
Okay.
Switches. However crimes you're on, I guess, really. But anyways, I'll get right into it. You guys didn't look too bad. I mean, obviously, this is my first time doing your report, but I pulled up the last few months as well, and it didn't look too bad. A lot of stolen autos, though, more than I would like to see in such a small area. There were 3 stolen autos, 2 of which were actually stolen. One of them was just tempered with ignition. So I'm sure you guys are aware of the Kia and Hyundai kick that's going on right now. I think it's like 2009 to 16 is the years of the vehicles. But these kids are going on TikTok and breaking into these cars and then using a iPhone charger to tamper with the ignition and drive along. So they're like heavily targeted vehicles right now. So there's not much you can do if you have one of those. Buy a different car maybe. But just make sure you lock your vehicles. Yeah. And seriously. We had a few larceny from vehicles as well. I think we had 4 larceny from vehicles. People are not locking their vehicles. It's the same thing every time. You gotta lock your car. Tell everybody to lock their car, please. It's very important. Don't leave guns in your car. People leave their guns sitting out. I mean, it happens almost every day. It's very sad to see.
We're all 4 because of them.
Sorry.
We're all 4 because they weren't locked.
The 4 I have this week or this month were unlocked. Yes.
Okay.
So we had one commercial burglary at the Mexican restaurant. It's not called Wads.
Wads.
Yeah. I actually arrested him 3 days ago. He hit like 5 places on Ward's Corner, across the street from Ward's Corner as well. I still call it Ward's Corner, but like the Harris Theater and all that. He hit 4 or 5 total, and we caught him the other day. He's homeless. He lives behind the laundromat next to the Pancake House.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully we won't have any burglaries for a while. And then let's see, burglary. We had 2 aggravated assaults. The people knew each other in the vehicles. It was regarding 2 vehicles. They were shooting at each other. It wasn't just some random guy driving down the street shooting at people. These guys knew each other, likely gang related. So concerning, but it's nice to know that they knew each other. What's that?
That was the one off Newport.
Yes, that was at.
Yeah.
There's one over there, and then there's one on. Great. No, that's the same one. Yep, that's right. Yep. So, Besides that, there wasn't too bad. 12 total incidents. So, you guys have any questions for me at all?
Yeah, one in particular is what you were just talking about and the cars that got hit on Newport Avenue. Was that part of that or not?
Oh, no, so
We
that,
had, yeah, we had,
that happened this month, so it's not gonna show up on that report, but
Uh,
over here on Newport at the corner, it looks like there,
Newport and Burley.
vehicle struck two parked vehicles on the side of the road sometime during the late night, early morning.
What was the intersection?
Burley and Newport.
Burley. The cars were parked. Yeah, the cars were parked on Newport Avenue.
They got hit. But then I looked,
Still there. Yeah, one of them is still.
one of them is still there. If you go,
I saw a vehicle report at 408 Maycox. So I don't know if that's related to that.
I mean,
It
this
happened
just
on the
happened
11th.
over the weekend. This
Is it
happened
a
on
truck?
Saturday night, maybe.
I don't have the vehicle description here.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was on the 11th of this
I have
month.
a couple other questions. Is our red lights, so in some areas they have like speed cameras
Mhm.
that catch people speeding. Is that legal here in the state? Because I thought Chesapeake had that at some of their schools, districts set up.
The only systems that I know of, there's a red light camera at Chesapeake and Little Creek, obviously.
Uh-huh.
So if you run the red light, you're going to get your
Right.
tags taken. We have a new system called Flock that they're using in Norfolk and Chesapeake. It might be what you're thinking of. We use it for stolen vehicles, so we can see vehicles. We can put a license plate in there, and it will show us how many times it's been through a certain area.
So sorry. In the state of Virginia, speed cameras are only allowed in school zones and construction zones. And so we are getting the first cameras. We are a little slow in Norfolk. I'm not happy about this. Chesapeake has beat us to the punch on
Yes,
this.
they have. I've seen
Yes.
them.
And but we are putting two in the next month or two in school zones.
In all schools?
No, just the first couple, and the goal is next year that it will be in all schools.
And does Granby qualify as one of the schools
Yes,
on Newport?
absolutely, yeah. But it's not gonna be one of the first two this school year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
So
the
they're-
trains on Newport has to
So
slow down.
they're gonna do it based on the data, but we as a city of Norfolk has been putting in our legislative package to put speed cameras to allow throughout the community. Right now, though, legally we can only do it in those two areas.
Okay.
Sorry, officer. I didn't
you're fine.
interrupt you, but
You're fine. Yes, ma'am.
Question. You know who damaged those four sections of the fence at Ward's Corner, the black iron fence? There's four of them down.
What exactly are you talking about?
Right on Granby Street. Between,
In the meeting.
Harris Teeter and
Oh.
Walgreens.
Sure, I'll have to look into that. Was it vandalized or was it like a vehicle, you think?
They've been down for a while though. Yeah. So, but we haven't.
it's just a wreck.
Yeah, I don't think we have to figure out when we're going to get that replaced. So
Gangs. We always hear about gangs here. What about gangs? We don't know it since.
Well, there's always going to be, I hate to say it, but it's the truth. There's always going to be gang violence in Norfolk. Yeah. We have a gang unit, suppression unit that works actively to deal with these gangs. They do a pretty good job. You're not going to see on the news or anything like that, obviously, but they work silently, but they do a lot of work in Norfolk and the surrounding cities as well. So a lot of these gangs are not like Bloods and Crips anymore. Well, they are, but they're neighborhood gangs. So everybody's got their own gang from the street they grew up on.
Yeah.
So there's hundreds of them, but we don't like them any more than you do, trust me. And another thing I was going to tell you guys, good news, we just got our stolen vehicle pursuit policy back. So as of Tuesday of last week, we can pursue vehicles in Norfolk again. If you didn't know that, we weren't allowed to pursue vehicles in Norfolk for the last 6 years that I've been here. So, yeah.
So you can go after those three-wheelers and all those cruisers.
Yeah, essentially, yes. Essentially, yeah.
I know that y'all aren't chasing them.
What's the policy on so I have two questions. One, if you're driving through the neighborhoods and you're seeing cars like really close to the intersection, parked right up at the stop sign, what can be done to alleviate that problem, whether it's giving notices and then starting to take it? Because people they're encroaching on the intersections. You cannot see around these vehicles being like.
Yeah, I'll just call it in every time or do Norfolk Cares.
And what about vehicles again, I know there was very lax during COVID, like registration and that, but are we starting to pick up on that again?
It's depends on the officer's discretion, of course, but most of the time, if there's an accident involving a vehicle, they're going to get written for those
Violations.
Violations, yes.
vehicles around here that are, the last one that were registered was 2021.
Yeah.
That is
We can
now.
write abandoned auto slips on those. I will say that last week, the garage wouldn't accept abandoned autos anymore. They do that frequently until they get the vehicles out of there. But if you put it in Norfolk Cares, I can take a look at it. If you guys, it's a dire emergency, like you can't see the road, you just call 911 non-emergency or whatever, and then we'll have officers come out, let it park the tag.
Yeah, I'm not straight. 100%.
Last question, please.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I brought this up last, I know you weren't here. A little about this car that lives behind, I live on Westport Road.
Okay.
Right on the other side of the apartment, apartments that are dead end by the railroad tracks. One vehicle, small black vehicle, keeps revving its engine. Wah! You can hear it from, on the other side of, Little Creek
Is it
Road.
a neighbor or just a random
You can
car?
hit it in the back there. I got the license plate.
Oh, you do?
And again, he does it the daytime as well as the nighttime. On the weekends, it's probably late at night, like 10 to about 2 o'clock in the morning. You could get an officer who can plant themselves in Birmingham and arrest them. That way you can catch them in the act.
Yeah.
So they have a license plate.
Do you know it? Do you know by heart? Can you give it to me? Can you give it to me?
Sure. Virginia license plate UJZ 1779. Well, I didn't want the back of the detail of the windshield. It says it's got the detail. Nobody's perfect.
I'm there.
Officer, thank you very much. We'll look forward to seeing you next. Oh, go ahead.
Also, it's sorry, I have 27 weeks now, so I'm trying to organize everything here. You guys meet on the,
Third Monday of every month.
is that year round or do you guys stop in the summertime?
We stop in the summertime. June will be our last membership meeting. We won't have one in July or August. Then we'll pick up again in
So
September.
third Monday, June's the last one.
Yes,
Okay. Always at 6:30, always in this room.
right.
Great. All right, well, thanks for being here. I'll see you next month.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Andrea McClellan is in luck because our friend Martin is not here, so I'm going to give her 5 minutes to.
I don't even need 5.
You don't even need 5?
No. So
You know what? Until he walks through the door, you're on. Go ahead.
he's out. Got it.
No, I meant
Go
Martin.
to Martin. Okay. Hi, folks. I'm Andria McClellan. I've met many of you over the years. I represent you as your Super Ward 6 representative, and I'm actually here wearing 2 hats. Your council member hat. So we have our on Wednesday we have the public hearing about our budget. So I encourage you to come to Granby High School at 6 p.m. there. And the other hat that I'm wearing is I'm actually also running for the Virginia State Senate. We, through redistricting every 10 years, we have new Senate and House districts. And Norfolk has a new Senate district. It's Senate District 21. It's all within the city limits of Norfolk. It excludes 5 precincts in East Ocean View. Otherwise, it's in Norfolk. And it's an open seat. There's no incumbent. And so I'm going to leave some literature here if you're interested in learning more about it. Why am I here? Because most people think of elections in November, because there is a Democratic primary on June 20th. There is not a Republican that has announced and is not qualified. So the Democratic primary is really the election of note here. So if you want to get involved, you can vote. In Virginia, there are open primaries. So if you consider yourself to be a Republican or an independent, you can still vote in this primary. I'll leave some information here. The work that I've done locally has been focused on issues like flooding, small businesses, focusing on broadband. We have our second broadband provider coming to Norfolk. Yay! As one of the
Can you elaborate on that?
one of the biggest things that I've focused on since 2016. So Metronet is digging and lit up their fiber in 5 points, and they're spaghettiing out, as their term, through the rest of Norfolk. They should be throughout the entire city of Norfolk. in the next 2 to 3 years, all fiber network. I don't support them. I don't support Cox, but the same. We have another internet provider, and providing competition and more reliable, more affordable internet is really a piece of the work that I've been doing as well. I want to increase our public transit here in the city of Norfolk and throughout the region. I served as chair of HRT. We were getting 15-minute reliable regional service. I'm very proud of that as well. But be happy to answer any questions. But I know I have very limited time. I got to go
No.
someplace else, so I just wanted to make sure.
Until you can, when you got to leave, you tell me,
Yeah.
or if Martin walks through the door, then you're done.
So
Carrie.
Okay, come on, Carrie, bring it on. What are you gonna do about the regional greenhouse gas emission?
Wall.
Yeah.
A few weeks ago, it hit the Washington Post
Yeah.
that the flood wall had some real issues with its planning in the environmental social justice category.
Yeah.
A few days after that, we saw Mayor Alexander at an event, and he said that you had sat down with the Corps of Engineers, and the Corps of Engineers was willing to reevaluate some of that. And now I've seen something like that says, no, hold up, Norfolk may not want that. So what's the deal?
Okay, so let me stop. And for those who might not be familiar, right? Anybody realize that we have a flooding issue in Norfolk? All of us, right? We're second only to New Orleans in terms of flood risk. So 2015, 2016, Norfolk entered into a project with the Army Corps called a 3x3x3 study. 3 years, $3 billion, 3 phases. So we finished that, and the report came from the Army Corps in 2019 that outlined a plan for the entire city of Norfolk to deal with, it's called a coastal storm risk management plan. So it's not going to deal with all of our flooding, but deals with the flooding as it relates to the big storms, right? So Hurricane Katrina types of things and others. It had 5 phases, and one of the last phase, phase 5, was for Willoughby, Elizabeth Park, and the South Side. So Willoughby, born by hurricane, not going to get protected, right? Elizabeth Park issues. South Side was not included other than raising homes and some other things, not a defense, because the Army Corps does something called a benefit cost analysis, which says, what do we have to do to replace those units? What's the cost of that versus the cost of putting something in? So from an environmental justice standpoint, they said, oh, this is an underserved community, not really worth it. Problematic, right? So this was done in 2018, 2019. Subsequent to that, we have the Biden administration has introduced something called the Justice 40 Initiative, which said we need to include environmental justice issues when we are expending federal dollars. And so typically what happens when you have a project of this size, which by the way, started out at $1.8 billion and is now $2.6 billion, you wait for a storm of some substance before you actually get an appropriation from the federal government. Our storm was COVID. So from COVID and the bipartisan infrastructure bill, we got a $400 million, what's called a new start, to start this project. So new start's huge because typically you get a little bit of money for a project. This says, Army Corps says, we're going to do the whole project. So new start's really critical. We have $400 million. Here's the deal. The federal government is on the line for 65% of any of these dollars. And we, the city and the state, are on the hook for 35%. So for every $1 billion, the federal government says we'll put in $650 million. And then we are required $350 million. So we, the city and the state, need to step up. Unfortunately, right now, we've asked the state to step up. We asked them for $400 million in this last budget. We got $24 million. So that's a bit of an issue. We did go back to the South Side, and we recognize the South Side needs to be protected. So the mayor is right. The mayor, Army Corps, I've been over there in meetings, and we've said we are going to put in an amendment into Congress to make sure that that is reconsidered. A week ago at the city council meeting, we continued the acceptance of that $400 million.
That's right. Okay.
Martin Thomas voted against it.
Mhm.
I wanted to vote against it. I think this is the future of the city of Norfolk. This is a huge, huge, huge issue. We've got to move this forward. So I don't know if I don't know if I've made this really muddy. My apologies, but this is a huge, huge issue, and we are very fortunate to be in the position to get this funding. We've also got to get the state to step up on this as well. So that's one of my goals for running for the state senate, because I just don't think that we have enough folks focusing on this issue. It is an existential threat. And I look around to a lot of you guys and you go, well, it's always flooded here. It has, but it is flooding more and more and more.
Getting worse, yeah.
And I look at this little guy who's been very well behaved, by the way. And this is about his future. Probably not about my future. But, you know, we expect a 2.5 of sea level rise by 2050. By 2080, we're looking at 3 feet. By 2100, we're looking at 5 feet. And these are conservative estimates.
Does the fact that our port is like one of the largest in
So yes. So here's the thing. We have the largest naval base in the world. We have one of the biggest ports on the East Coast. Right? These are the arguments that I will make to the folks in Southwest Virginia and the central part of Virginia and Northern Virginia, which say, "Oh, well, it's just
it's
Hampton
Norfolk,
Roads."
it's not my problem, right?
No, the answer is it's a
Yeah.
matter of national security. It's a
Right.
matter of economic security,
Right.
and we've got to be addressing these things. So these are huge issues, and I know Carrie, you and I both are focused on the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative, which is the only funding source for flooding initiatives in the state. And we've got to secure that as well for the Community Flood Preparedness Fund. There's a lot of nomenclature. I'm getting into the weeds a little bit, but it is a huge issue for our city. And unfortunately, long-term issues don't have constituencies, right? Because we're all focused on our schools, public safety, our roads, and that's understandable, but we've got to balance both of those things. So,
Not change the subject.
of course you can.
Wednesday, we're having a meeting, raising the income tax.
It's Thursday.
Tax for the city. Are you for or against raising?
Do you know about the tax revolt?
Yes.
Yeah, so we're not, there's no real estate tax increase on the line. I don't know where this is coming from. That's not
It's
correct.
coming from Riverview. That's it.
It's not, there's no real estate
But
tax.
there is a meeting on Wednesday.
It's Thursday, I thought.
Wednesday, it's the budget hearing that we have every year. Yeah, at Granby. Yeah, it's a budget hearing we have every year.
It's Wednesday or Thursday?
It's Wednesday.
Oh,
Absolutely.
Are we all invited to that?
It's a public, yeah.
it's a public
hearing.
meeting. It's a public
Yeah,
meeting.
but I just want to, there's no increase in the real estate taxes. So if real estate assessments go up more than a certain percentage, they have to have a public hearing. And because real estate assessments have gone up 8% over the city because they've increased in value or, over the year, that's why that happens. But there's no increase in real estate taxes.
The outcry or what they're talking about is to actually lower the tax rate is what they're asking because of the increased values causing the assessments to go up.
So if we were to do that, we have to lower our public safety payment for our police. We can't pay in full for our schools. We can't pay for our roads. And the fact of the matter is, as everybody else's expenses have gone up, so has the city's expenses. So we've had to increase our minimum wage for our employees to $18 an hour because we've got to staff our libraries and staff our rec centers and staff the arborists who are doing the trees in our area. We can't find enough people to come to work. So it's a balancing act, but we are not increasing any of our taxes. There are a couple of fees that the city manager has requested to increase, which I don't support. I think at this point we can't do that, but there's no increase in the city real estate tax increase. Great. Thank you for asking the question so I could set the record straight. I don't know where that's coming from, but I've heard that from a few folks.
Somebody,
When's the 19th? 19th is Wednesday night. Okay.
Yeah, Wednesday night.
Okay.
So thank you.
on is affordable housing. Considered affordable housing.
Oh, that's a great question. That is a great question because affordable housing means so many different things to different people, right? So is it voucher-based housing? Is it housing for our public safety officers and our teachers? Is it for, my kid who's coming home, who's 24 and wants to find a place to live? It's a lot of different things to a lot of different people. The fact of the matter is we want people to be able to live in the city of Norfolk in safe, quality, affordable housing. And we also don't want to concentrate poverty. And that's been the issue that we've had for so long in the city of Norfolk. So we want to have a mixed income throughout the entire city of Norfolk as well.
You're gonna flood suburbs with housing, like apartments? You said you want it throughout. What do you mean by?
Well, I mean, so for example, on my street, I live in a 5,000 square foot of a house, and 2 doors down, I have a 20-unit apartment complex. I'm okay with that. It works.
Yeah.
I think what I heard the other day at the State of the City was things like where St. Paul's, as those people move out, 100% of them have the opportunity to move back into the new housing initiative and stuff like that. But I think some of the problem also lies with the redevelopment and housing programs and the choices, because I, as a real estate agent, have never been able to accept any of those vouchers because the redevelopment and housing initiative has denied every single closing and every single buyer. So that's going to continue to be a difficult.
Well, and I would also say, to your point, we've got to think about this regionally because it can't just be the city of Norfolk.
Yep.
So understand that in a region of 1.8 million people, Norfolk's got about 240,000 right now.
It's the south side.
We have 49% of the public housing for the region. We have a concentration of public housing. And so we've got to work on this on a regional level. And this is the thing that I've been focused on. I just came from the Hampton Roads Planning District Commission meeting earlier today. So we've got to be thinking about this regionally. We've got to be working with our other partners on how do we make sure that everybody has great housing that's affordable for all. So it's not just in the city of Norfolk, because I think that is the concern that we all have. It's like, why are we shouldering that burden? And remember that we've got largest naval base in the world. We have the port, we have Centera, we have ODU, we have Norfolk State, we have DCC. The 35% of our properties don't pay taxes. And then you add in the public housing. Right. So that we are burdened because of that. So we've got to make sure that we're thinking about this on a regional basis.
And the Indians won't be paying it either.
Question. So we have a lot of, redevelopment of areas, new areas like Westport, that kind of thing. But what I'm seeing is that when these areas are being developed, I feel like parking is limited, but we are also taking away a lot of green space that these places once had. And I don't know how that can be balanced or, you walk back to some of these places and, some of these new apartment areas, and there's no green space. There's barely enough room for people to
Park a car. Or turn your car around.
So I just don't know how that runs through and is balanced when, these new places are being proposed or.
Well, listen, we're speaking the same love language, right? I get it. Our green infrastructure plan in the city of Norfolk, we've got to increase our tree canopy. Yeah. Because we got to reduce our heat island effect. It's good for erosion. It's good for flood mitigation. All of those things. So typically what we do is we try and make sure that we're mitigating in other areas of the city. So we're doing other planting, but the best thing we could do is not to take anything down. Planting new is good, but it's not as good as keeping what we have. So I don't disagree with you on that one. It's a real challenge. On that point, I've totally taken up with more than 2 minutes.
You took up Martin's time. That's it. It's an show, so go for it. You need to go. Thank you for.
Please. I'd love to have your support on June 20th. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the good questions. I appreciate it. And I don't know if I gave you all the answers, but
If you have other questions, I believe she's going to be attending our ice cream
You're so
circle
cool.
in June. So
yeah, I'll be
you'll-
there.
as will the other person.
Okay.
So
Thank
okay,
you.
take care. Thank you, Andrea. All right. Next on the agenda, we have Leon Bass from Parks and Recreation is going to talk to us about some of the summer programs that will be available in the city of Norfolk. Yeah, go ahead.
Good evening,
Take the
everyone.
podium, or you want to? Go ahead.
Thank you guys for having me. So I'm new to Norfolk. Definitely, I've been in Norfolk 6 months now. I'm the division head for rec programming. So I oversee all the community centers throughout the city of Norfolk. So, coming from Newport News,
Okay.
I was the hiring manager in Newport News, so decided to transition over to Norfolk. Centers, like I said, I oversee the centers, so I'm trying gradually to make improvements to each of the centers. It's a lot that so I came in and I was like, guns blazing. We're gonna do this, that, and the third. Had to slow it down and say,
Little
listen,
cowboy
I
hair.
gotta say, matter of fact, my assistant director called me in the office like, look, you take it easy. I know what you can do, but I don't want to burn myself out. He didn't want me to burn myself out. So, but I'm here to share information about our summer programming that's going on throughout the city of Norfolk. So I'm trying to get a lot of my community centers consistent. So I got some that's doing calendar of events where patrons can come in and take those calendar events. So I'm trying to go across the board. Everybody will have calendar events. So if you go to any center, you'll be able to see what they offer for that particular month, what classes are being offered, what programs are coming up. Just trying to get a little different facelift throughout the city and all of our buildings. Summer camp registration, so all our summer camps are currently on waiting lists at the moment. Currently on waiting lists, and one major reason for that is still short with staffing. I worked the community center last week because we have enough staff just so I can get out there, talk to the citizen, but also show staff that I'm not going to give them anything that I wouldn't do. So, but we still short staff and we not, I don't know what happened with applications coming in. We're not even getting many applications coming in for our positions that we have available. So my staff and we trying to go here, there, and everywhere to make sure we promote them. Hey, this is what Norfolk has to offer. Like I said, I'm bringing in trainings to make sure all staff are providing citizens with quality customer service when they enter the building. So it's certain pet peeves of mine that I just don't tolerate when you come in the building, especially when it comes to citizens coming in the building, asking about certain events or programs that we have to offer. And a pet peeve is mine is I don't know. Because you should. Because like I tell anybody, if the supervisor is not there, that building should still be able to operate, whether you a part-time or full-time employee. So just making sure everybody is consistent with the information that they're giving to the public and providing them with a quality service. Because you don't want to go anywhere and then a person is frowned up in the face. Like I had one staff got a phone call last week, gave the wrong information and didn't know who was on the other line. The first thing in the morning, I had an email, Leon, this and that happened. I was like, oh my. So I just went to that staff, enrolled that staff in the customer service training. So like you never know who's on that other line. So that's what I'm trying to bring to the city of Norfolk with all the programs that we do, just trying to change it up a little bit to get more people involved in our programs. But in order to be consistent, we got to get more staff. Got to get more staff. So I left some flyers the positions that we have, I know we got lifeguard positions open, we got full-time rec specialist positions open, and we also have part-time rec aid positions open. So if you know of anybody, please take that information, share it out. If I can leave my cards here, if you know somebody, shoot me a text, shoot me an email and say, hey, Leon, this person got this and that experience, and I would definitely try to get their application pool to at least get them an interview, to at least get them in the door to get an interview. But so summer camps, current waiting list. We also have summer learning kickoff weekend beginning June the 16th. So I'm partnering with Master Gardeners from Norfolk to offer two programs, one at Tarleton Community Center, one at East Ocean View. On the 16th, we'll be at Tarleton from 11 to 2, providing citizens with gardening ideas, gardening techniques. We'll give out free seed packets to everybody who attend. and just some information from the Master Gardeners we'll share on those 2 days. So if you're in those 2 areas, make sure you stop by, visit us. And we'll also be showcasing and have information on all the events that are upcoming for
You know,
the
we
summer.
have a master gardener here in
Oh,
our.
you do? Okay.
That's
Gotcha.
down
Okay. I've been in connection with Mr. Redfern, Will Redfern. Yeah. So me and him been talking on a regular basis. So that's what I try to do too. I get to network. I see these faces out here, and I'm normally good with faces. I was a former teacher for 12 years too, so I try to keep up with faces. But that's what we're offering for the city of Norfolk. And like I said, I brought some information out. All my sites know that we want to offer family events monthly as well, so the families can come out and participate in all our events that we have to offer and offer. So like I said, I'm new, but like I said, I'm off and running, trying to make changes here, like I did in Newport News. But definitely, if you see me out, definitely reach out to me, call me. Feel free to call the main office, ask for Leon Bass. I always pick up my phone. I always return emails. Are there any questions for me?
Personal note, are you driving back and forth? Or
Oh yeah, I drive back and forth. I live in Hampton. So yeah, I live in here. So I was just telling this gentleman over here, I said, you got to pick and choose the times that you never know. Like right now, when I leave and go back home, and I'm supposed to have a meeting at my church tonight, I'm probably gonna be late because you never know what traffic is gonna be like. But you know, so I normally try to leave in advance so I can get over here in a timely manner. So, or I just stay extra time. Like if I know at 5 o'clock I'm leaving in my office, I just stick around, go visit sites and everything. So just to, so I can see what's going on, and staff never know when I'm gonna pop up, so they could be making sure they're doing what they're supposed to.
are you doing any recruiting at the high schools?
So we just interviewed with our Emerging Leaders program. I want to say maybe 3 weeks ago. So we did in-person interviews at Booker T. Washington, and we did 3 days of virtual interviews because I was a part of all of the virtual interviews where we interviewed. It was not even just high school students, but we had a couple of adults between 19 and 21 years old as well. But yeah, so we are out and recruiting, and this weekend we was at the Croc Center out there. I don't think the turnout was that big, but we was out there this weekend trying to recruit as well, just trying to get staff on board. And like I said, I'm big on training because I don't want to send staff out there and just throw them to the wolves. So I like this year before we start our summer program, I'm introducing several trainings that we're gonna do going forwards, like non-negotiable, so we can make sure all staff is prepared and they know what to do during summer camps.
I have one more question to add to that. With, because you have a lot of people trying to probably get around from one place to the other, but when you hire people, is there any way that you can work with HRT to like get them like free bus passes or something during their time of employment to get to job, maybe if transportation is an
I
issue?
never even thought of that, but I definitely would look into it though to make sure that if that's one of the main reasons they can't get to work, we'll definitely see. Yes, ma'am.
The city belongs to the DoD Skill Bridge program,
Okay.
which allows transitioning service members to have internships for up to 6 months.
Okay.
Might be a good opportunity for any of your program.
Gotcha.
It's no cost.
You said what was the name of that program?
Skill Bridge.
Okay,
It's
Skill
at
Bridge.
no cost.
Gotcha.
I get 10 calls a day.
Gotcha. Okay.
So they're out there looking. They don't want to go to their regular place of duty. They want to go anywhere else.
Gotcha. Okay.
And you don't have to pay them.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I'm definitely looking into that.
90 days.
Yeah.
But at least gives you an opportunity to get
The military spouse.
Any more questions?
Do you have flyers out in the high schools that have kids who are seniors leaving? Is there somebody?
So now I was the liaison in Newport News with the school system. So I'm trying to get that started over here in Norfolk as well. So I'm trying to build that relationship with Norfolk Public Schools. So like when we got flyers, we can send those out so they can be abreast of everything. So that's what I'm working. One of my tasks I'm working.
And what about the summer internship programs with the colleges?
So
For people with those majors.
So one of my colleagues is actually I'm probably in the next couple of weeks about to get an intern. So she's working on. She sent it out months ago about if we wanted interns to work with us. So I know for a fact I should probably have 2 interns working under me for the summer programs.
We have a pool here.
Okay.
All right. The outdoor pool.
Yeah.
Last year, big plan was that was going to open up. It's going to open up. Yep, we're going to open up. We're going to open up. And it never saw the light of day.
Gotcha.
So this year, I'm hearing the same thing. Oh, yes, the pool's going to open up this year. For sure, it's going to open up this year. Staffing has been this issue ever since. I mean, I get it when COVID hit and everything, but now it's over. Are we doing anything? Are we doing anything different now that you're here?
Yeah, they
in
have.
terms of
They
they hired you. Keep going.
So they hired me to come in and try to. My thing, I'm a recruiter.
Okay.
Wherever I go, I'm promoting whatever job that I have to do. So right now, I'm recruiting Norfolk. My people, my staff in Newport News said, Leon, stay away from my staff because I'm recruiting them hard to come over here to Norfolk. If I can convince them to drive through that tunnel every day,
Right.
I'm working on it.
That's a hard sell.
I'm like,
That's a hard sell.
I got some good people that I'm trying to bring on board. But the whole thing is just, I'm trying to get out to recruit. My staff is out recruiting. We going to any events. We're trying to set up tables at any events, high schools, whatever youth programs to bring them on board to give them a job, to give them opportunity. You know what I'm saying? I look at it as a starting point, and so that's what I tell my supervisors. You can't think that this young man is going to know how to do everything. So that's why I push training. We got to make sure we train it, and before we just throw them up. But my thing is, I'm recruiting, trying to promote the programs and get people to work for North.
Are the other cities seeing the same problems with lifeguards?
Yeah. So my son attends the daycare program, preschool program in Newport News where I used to work at, and every day I talk to them about it. I got friends in Chesapeake, same thing. Like it's like what happened? I can remember pre-COVID, you got like 117 applications coming in,
Right.
and then you got less than 20. So like what is
Right.
going
It's like all of a sudden nobody wants to do the job. Right.
Very low.
Yeah.
Terry's not recruiting very well either.
Yeah, so
They're
it's
talking about some stopgaps too.
yes, sir.
Question for you concerning Southside Pool. Is there any update? I don't know if you.
So I was gonna say.
Are we going to see it open back up or not? Or because I know they got issues with the mold.
Gotcha. Now I'm the programs guy.
Okay.
Community. I was hoping they could come with me tonight to just answer some of those questions, but yes, ma'am.
Where's that pool located here, son?
And it's put out the notices to like, Virginia Tech, UVA, all the colleges.
Okay.
And so kids come home.
Yeah, so I know what I did because, like I said, I live on the peninsula. So with our lifeguards, I took our flyers over to CNU, took them over to Hampton University, and I took them to Thomas Nelson just to promote that we need lifeguards. So
But if you would send it out to all the universities of the state, because they do come home.
and they got a program that we about to start using was Handshake. All the colleges are on that Handshake platform, and you can send it out to the information out to there as well.
Yeah, because there are, like you said, a lot of kids who go out to other colleges and state come back home. For the
Yeah,
summer.
we hired them a lot this summer.
Yeah.
At the base of the weekends.
I got to spend 12 years at the community center. You want to come back and work at one of those? Huh?
Are we ever really retired? Are we ever really retired? Right? Yeah, right. Any other questions for Leon? No.
Thank you again for having me tonight.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. Elena Anderson-Magee.
Yeah.
I knew it was you.
I'm sorry.
I knew it was you.
You knew it was
Elena is with Westport Community HOA and the Westport Commons, and she's president of the HOA. So welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we're in the process, or we're thinking, or we talked about it. At least Scott and I have. I think Westport Commons is going to need to become part of the Ward's Corner Civic League, and so
I think a lot of the issues that have been brought up so far. This is actually my first time attending. A lot of the issues that have been brought up are issues that are brought up in our meetings as well. So a lot of things are very in sync, and I think with what I wanted to propose to y'all tonight is very in sync with what was brought up earlier. So But I do agree that we're probably going to have to, we should merge, especially with the size of our community.
Well, yeah. I mean, we would love to see somebody here, you
Yeah.
know, during every meeting from your organization. So that'd be good.
If I wouldn't, I can tell you that I think it's very important. And if I cannot make it, I'll have my vice president come and
That'd be great.
definitely make it happen, because if we work together, we can actually get things done. It's what we're learning.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So you have the floor.
I'm sorry.
You have the floor.
Thank you very much. So, as you mentioned, my name is Elena Anderson-Magee. I am the Westport Community Homeowners Association president. I moved to the neighborhood last March, and somehow I got asked, and I said yes, and that's a whole other conversation because I do have my hands full, as you can tell. But as we were kind of talking about the size of our community, we have 13 condo units. We also have 67 townhomes, and we also have 72 apartments. So we're very large. And as it was mentioned before, parking is a huge issue. I'm sure, as you guys can tell, we have a lot of cars that we're making park on the streets because of such. We have about 152 total units in the neighborhood. And if you estimate, that's about a little over 300 cars if we're going to kind of allot 2 cars per unit.
But that's not the allotment.
No, they're not.
No, well, we also have, so this is the Westport community, but right next to us, we also have the Watermark. So that's a whole separate community that we're not a part of as well, but there's a lot of units in that as well. So the issue that I wanted to talk with about you guys tonight is our community safety, about us, the ingress and egress from our community. It's really, really hazardous. So right now, coming out of our community, we have a stop sign where you can go left or right. There's one at the very end of Warren, and what I would like to propose is if we could have another set of stop signs at Newport right there, so we'd have a 4-way stop.
I thought there was a 4-way stop there.
No.
That's the one further down at the Watermark. Yes, ma'am. So we actually requested this previously. This has been about a year in the making. We requested it right before they were doing new markings, and we were told that we're going to have new markings. We'll be able to push back some of the parking to open up some of the line of sight for cars pulling in, pulling out. We said, all right, we'll give it a shot. There was this huge bush at the Watermark that we were able to get taken down because that was really preventing. Give me 1 second, please. Thank you. It was really preventing being able to see around the corner, not only for cars, but also for pedestrians. So we got that removed, and that really opened it up, but it's still not cutting it. And it's been about a year now. And so one of the pushbacks that I received was that because there is a 4-way stop at the Watermark, and then there's Granby Elementary, they said a lot of times what will happen, and this is with the city Department of Transportation, they said a lot of times what will happen is that they'll try to run one of the stop signs, potentially the second stop sign, having faster traffic going into a school zone. And so I understand that concern, but I really think that if we had a 4-way stop at Westport, Warren, and also Newport right there, I think that will actually slow cars down. And then they're not going to have a chance to go as fast for that next stoplight or that next stop sign, I mean to say. Also, counting the speed limit signs. So I have a dog. I have my son. We walk all the time, and it is extremely hazardous. It is crazy. I mean, I'm literally like a vigilante at times, and so I'm looking at all the
Over here, the area called Pinehurst, which is everything east of Newport and north of North Shore. Okay. And I had stop signs put in years ago. And the one thing that I got that got it done was getting petitions and getting signatures and getting all those signatures together. Now, one thing that's different now that we didn't have then and we have now is that you have the Department of Transportation, which is a new group. And from what I've been told from them, because this is something that's been going on for a while, and we know that this has been something that you guys have been voicing. Our endorsement helps. Okay, so I know that if we can work together, but it's going to be a 2-pronged effort. You're going to need to get the signatures of the people within the locale, and we're going to take it, and I'll if I have to go to city council meeting with you, and we'll make our presentation, and we'll see about you, because they can throw all the traffic science at you all
Yeah.
you want. They can support the two stop sign areas. Okay, it's not like it's going to, inhibit any sort of commerce, or
Yeah. And that's why I was
or
like,
traffic,
wait a
or
second.
there's nothing, none of that is involved.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of just getting it done, and I'm sure we can get it done, because in the end, it's a matter of public safety.
It really is. And also, and then just to add on to that as well, is what we're doing at the Westport is we're actually installing speed bumps all around the community. What we're also doing as well is we're going to be painting a pedestrian crosswalk across where Westport, the community, opens up. Because as I'm sure you guys have seen, we have a little bit of a concrete barrier in between coming in and leaving, but there's a huge gap where really a lot of cars pull up and they can actually pull into the sidewalk area. And I've had it happen where I'm walking out and you don't see a car coming up or a car is zooming up. So we're trying to, from our perspective, we're trying to make it safe as well. And I'm not sure if this is something else we want to add on to the four-way stop, but the sidewalk where it kind of dips down that decline, it actually is off-centered at Westport. So I've noticed there's a lot of kids that live in Heritage Circle. They ride their bikes, they ride their scooters to school in the morning, and they have to go down and then around to the
Which puts them out in the street.
Which puts them out in the street. So if there's any way to straighten that, to make those sidewalks align, and then we'll have that pedestrian painting, or I'm sorry, that crosswalk. I'm so sorry. That crosswalk painted on the bottom, so our people are aware of that as well. I think that's also really going to help too. So I think there's a couple things that we're trying to do.
Is there anyone else in the immediate area that has two stop signs like that? Is there in that distance that you could use as precedents?
I was gonna drive around some other schools and try to find them. I haven't had the opportunity.
I feel like there is.
I feel
I do too.
especially
I do too.
All that, there's a bunch of stop signs right there.
There's one right where, like you said, Newport and Kingsley, and then it goes over to on the other side of the parking lot. It's less than 100 feet.
I mean,
And there's another stop sign. So
you could even just stand
I
outside
tried
for
to on Norfolk, and I said every other corner. But every corner.
What
Right.
we could have gotten it on every corner, but that's everybody's decided. But we don't even have like crosswalks from one side of the street to the other side of the street down there with like a light, flashing light, anything. In a school district, there's nothing even there for that.
there's nothing.
And even at the red flashing light over here, I've almost been run over many a time.
right, there's the other side. There is the other portion of this, which is we can do all this, and we can have all the lights and stop signs and speed limit signs and everything, and you're still going to get people that are just going to do it all. Yes, Willow would put the bumps in, and that squeaky wheel gets the grease. One at a time, please.
With major traffic because people want to avoid Granby.
I was gonna say a lot of people I noticed they want to avoid Granby, and then they come down Newport and they zoom down Newport.
Sometimes they're not just going down, they come all the way down on Wood Bank, North Shore, then Newport.
Yep.
And they're flying. I walk during the day, me and my wife, and they are flying.
Yep.
Right, some of them are my sailors, but been hit by a car as a kid, so I don't want to get into our kids or anyone else's kids getting hit by cars. And
Yeah, so that's what
The most effective pedestrian crosswalk that I've ever seen in the city is the one that's down at DePaul.
With the little flashing, yeah.
Where the man flashing, that is the most effective one.
But I don't think the city had anything to do with that.
No,
I think
was because expensive.
right.
yeah.
Right. So,
It's good to have that. So where we need to start, because the president of the homeowners association, and so we had some emails going back and forth of, hey, this is what we're requesting, and they pretty much were like, hey, no, right? like, okay, but let's try this and try this. And so we tried it their way. And I'd like to, say this isn't working. We need to have a point where we stop, but not knowing exactly where to start. So if we need to have a petition, and maybe getting the dates, maybe that's something I can work with you offline about aligning that.
You need a leader. You need a leader, and you need somebody to head it out of your group. And when you show up downtown, with signatures and with reinforcement, and I have some inside information. I was told that we obviously carry a little weight with that also too. So
Okay.
we'll be glad to. I'd like to think we'd be glad to work with you. Okay, but I think the starting point. I think Scott's mentioned this before. You need to get signatures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You may need to ask. Who knows what form the
What
petition has to say? What does the petition have to say in order for that to be?
you make a statement at the top, and then you put all the
How
columns.
many signatures are needed in order for
The
them
more
to...
the merrier.
Okay.
If you walk in there with more than 50% of the residents within your organization saying we need a stop sign here, it's obviously going to carry the weight.
And if you have any statistics as far as safety issues that have happened in that area,
Like accident reports, have you? Well, you were here. You saw Officer Tomko. You have his number. You should give him a call.
Well, he's
because
gonna
he can draw information, crime statistics for you.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
So, anybody have any other questions for Elena? Nope.
Let us know if you need help getting signatures.
Yeah.
We kind of are professional at
Definitely need some help. And we'll go throughout the community, and our community, we haven't really had a full board since it was built, and so this is kind of the full board that we've had, and we're trying to bring more of the neighbors together as well as being more involved within the neighborhood.
You're going to need to also, one thing I can say is you're going to need to work kind of hand in hand with Watermark.
I'm sorry?
With Watermark.
Yeah.
Okay, so it would be good if the two of you guys could get together and collectively, because there's strength in numbers.
Mm-hmm.
There's no doubt about it.
Talbot Park gonna have to approve of it as well.
It's not even. It doesn't even.
We don't have.
We right now the way the maps are drawn as far as the civic leagues are, we stop just below or just above of them, and Talbot Parks starts after the elementary school, so they're kind of in a no man's land. And I mentioned I talked to Martin about it, and Scott and I have talked about it also, and I think that eventually the map is going to have to include.
Now, the reason why I mentioned Talbot Park is because, when the facilities were being built, they were proposed. Talbot Park was also included in that discussion, not just.
Have you gone to Talbot Park or contacted anybody with them?
No, not yet.
Well,
I don't.
Yeah, Brian.
You would need
You talk to
more than just the people in your community.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I figured everybody, who lives near Newport, on Newport, around the area, would need to probably sign as well in order to get any sort of boost.
My next is running out bike strips.
I tell you, I mean, it's crazy sometimes. It's absolutely nutty is what I've seen people just like blow through. They've blown through that stop sign, and it's just crazy.
Right, the stop signs I told you about. People ride through they go through the 4-way light over here at Newport and North Shore. They drive right through it. You're always going to have an element like that, but the thing is just.
I think more deterrent, if we can have more deterrence in place.
Right, exactly.
Not as frequent, but yeah, there's no other questions. I appreciate your time tonight. And
thank you very much for presenting, and we're glad to finally meet you, and hopefully we'll be working together in the future. Okay?
Yeah, I hope so as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Taking the entertainment out of here too.
There you go. All right. So Martin is a no-show tonight, and Adele is not here. So, with that being said, do we have any new business anybody would like to bring up or anything? Or
Yeah. So I am reaching out to the committees. So last call, if you haven't signed up for a committee and want to, we have the welcome membership, the adopt a spot, the thank you neighbor award, sponsorship, which I know everybody really wants to get in on sponsorship and advertising. I'm surprised that one's has nobody. And then we have the events committee, which we definitely would love some good help with that, because we have a couple of events coming up and some more have been proposed, so that would be really helpful. And then if you guys could, if you haven't signed in, if you could sign in, because we just want to make sure we have everybody's email address too, because we're changing up our database. So if you could sign in, that's all I have.
Okay. No, really, the emails help us stay connected to y'all, and we don't send out loads of emails or anything that you could consider be terrible spam or anything like that. So yes, we do. So yeah, no.
Words corner typically.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else have anything?
No, I would just like to say thank you for everybody who picks up the garbage around your street, your yard, walking down the street. It helps. And just to keep that up if you can.
All right. I guess with that being said, we're going to be wrapping it up early tonight. Thank you for joining us, and this is adjourned. The meeting is adjourned. Yes, there you go. If you'll go grab a seat, chair to put it back in the